Global Grant Essentials from District 5440. Hi, I'm Jim Epstein from the Rotary Club of Fort Collins, and I'm the District 5440 Grants Chair. With me today is Alan Ashbaugh, past president of the Fort Collins Rotary Club, and someone who has a lot of experience with global grants. Also here is John Trone from the Rotary Club of Fort Collins Satellite, who also has a lot of experience with global grants. The purpose of this training is to share our experiences with you regarding global grants that will save you a lot of time and help your projects become more successful. We've identified these 8 musts, which really come from the Rotary Foundation requirements, so they have to be addressed prior to completing your application, so please be prepared to address all of these. First of all, the project must be in one of the 6 areas of focus. Second, you must proceed through the application process within the time limits specified. You must have experience with a reliable partner or partners in the host country. Your project must have a bigger purpose than supplying materials, and it must meet an identified community need. You must have goals that are measurable and have an impact. You must have funding partners and ask for at least $15,000 from the foundation. Smaller grants are really done under district grants. You must set up a separate bank account and keep adequate financial records, and your project must be sustainable. The Rotary Foundation has identified 6 areas of focus, and your project must fit under one of these areas. The 6 areas are peace and conflict prevention and resolution, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development. Now, sometimes your project fits under more than one of these, but it is recommended not to select more than one on the application, because if you select more, you'll have to track and take data and report on every area of focus, and it's not required to have more than one. Now I'd like to go into how you will obtain district support for your global grant. We are using the website matchinggrants.org, and you can see the URL for this website here at the top of the page. And prior to submitting your application on the Rotary Foundation website, if you want to get district support for your grant, you can submit a pre-application on the matchinggrants.org website by going to their website and clicking on their Global Grants Enter button, which takes you to the main page. And to submit a project, you then click on Submit Project on the upper menu. This gives you some instructions on how to proceed. It also talks about reading prior to entering your application the terms and conditions for Rotary grants, which you can get by clicking on this link. And once you're ready to submit the project, click on the Submit a New Project button here. It will take you to this form. Now, I've already filled out the form, so we can have a little bit of a head start. It's a very simple form. In the first part of it, you submit the title of the project, the Rotary year, and the location, the area of focus, and then a short project description. I put a very short one in here. Yours should be much longer than that. Then you need to identify the primary host partner in the country where the project will be, indicating their district and contact information and the amount of money that they would be contributing. Next is the primary international partner, and the same information for them, their district, contact information, and the amount of money contributed. The last category is the project budget, and you don't have to submit a TRF grant number, TRF grant staff, or email, because that probably will not be available, because the pre-application should be done before you submit the application on the Rotary Foundation site. You may have some money that is contributed that will not be matched by TRF. TRF won't match any money that's contributed by the beneficiaries or a partner organization. You do need to submit a total budget for the project. And then finally click this box to identify the fact that you will comply with the Rotary Foundation guidelines. Now this information is not connected directly to the TRF website, so this is only for the pre-application. So once you submit all that information, you click Save, and it will take you to the following screen, which I've got over here. Now, in addition to the basic information on the project, the district requires you to fill out the online form by clicking here. This form is quite detailed. It has additional information about the community needs, which is a very good thing to do beforehand, is to make sure you really understand the community needs. Enter that into the section B. Section C is the activity description. Which activities will you be completing during this project? It also asks for the proposed start and completion date. Section D is on the area of focus. And Section E is the project outcomes. So you need to really be prepared before you fill out this form because there's a lot of questions. It also includes the budget, each budget item, and the amount of currency required for each one. This information does not go automatically to the Rotary Foundation website. So it's much useful anyway because you can do cut and paste, and having that information before you go to the Rotary application will be very beneficial, and you will be able to transfer a lot of that information. So after filling this out, you can click Save, and that will send a message to the Global Grants Committee of the district to review this project, and they will get back with you as soon as possible. So thank you, and I would like to go on now to the next section. I'd like to introduce Alan Ashbaugh to talk about reliable partners at this time.
Yes, one of the key things of doing a global grant, and one of the must, is that you must have a Rotary Club partner in the host country. Getting a reliable is very important, that they have experience and cannot lead you down to some paths that will hinder your club from doing projects in the future. Other than just the Rotary Club, other partners in the area, like cooperating organizations, Rotary Community Corps, are also very important because they know what's going on in the community and will help you immensely. If you don't have experience with the host Rotary Club, one of the good ideas is to do a district grant with them first. Then you gain the experience and you gain the knowledge that the other club will do what they need to do to get your project done. One of the key things in doing a project is the communication and the person-to-person communication. One way to do this is to have members of your club visit the project site. This is invaluable. It is difficult to write an application on something that you haven't visited. So reliable partners are a key factor in doing a global grant. The next thing is that the purpose and the purpose of a global grant is bigger than just supplying materials or equipments. There's a community need that sits out there, and for Rotarians and partners, doing a community assessment is a key way of finding out what really is the need of the community. If you're trying to do a grant without meeting a community need, then the help that the community should be giving you will not be there. For example, instead of just supplying material and equipment for a school, you ought to be worried about getting a better education for the children and helping the teachers become better teachers. The goals of the grant, let's go to the next slide. The goals must be measurable, and goals must be stated. Specific goals could be train 25 teachers, to increase the number of students attending school. Those are specific goals that you should be putting in your application. The number of people that your project is helping is another thing that should be in the application. Ways of collecting information must be put in place. Your local Rotary Club is a key to that, or the other partners are a key for them to collect the information that must be put in place. You can hire an external agency to collect and analyze data for you, but it's best if the people that are actually involved in the process do this. An evaluation of the results must be conducted, and this should be included in yearly reports, ongoing reports, and in the final report. So these three things will help you have a better global grant: reliable partners, a bigger purpose than just doing some little specific thing, and for you to have goals and measurable goals that impact the community. These are the three things that will really help you in your global grant.
Thanks, Alan. I think now John was going to talk about the next topic, which is funding partners.
For funding partners, global grants obviously need funding, and depending on the project and the country you're working in, you as the international partner are probably going to be doing most of the fundraising. These are large projects, so your club will want to partner with one or many other clubs or organizations. There's many clubs out there that are not interested in being a primary sponsor, but would like to be involved in global projects and help support you financially. So reach out to all different clubs in our district with the help of other district members and in clubs outside the districts. Also, non-Rotary organizations can be an option for funding. Our recent projects have been supported by organizations and clubs in the United States and Europe, Africa, and also Brazil now. Matchinggrants.org is a good place to list, is a Rotary website that you can list your project and solicit contributions from there. As far as bank accounts and financial record keeping, Rotary does require a separate bank account for each and every project that's a global grant, and that bank account can be here with your club, or it can be in the host country with the club there, depending on the club and the projects. I like to think of financial records as just good business record-keeping practices. Maintain a copy of all records with your club, receipts, quotes, agreements, bank statements, and also the original records should be maintained for, I think, a minimum of 5 years after a grant is closed, or longer, depends on the rules and regulations. Lastly, sustainability is always important. A good base that was already talked about is if you have a good community needs assessment, that's always a good base for your sustainability of your project. Furthermore, you want to possibly identify a local funding source to sustain the project ongoing, and think about how it's going to be sustained ongoing. For example, for a water project, there might be set up water fees collection to contribute to maintenance for the pumps, etc., that may break in the years following. You want to provide training and outreach for the project. For example, like if installing cook stoves, you might want to be training the beneficiaries how to maintain those cook stoves in the future. Another example might be for a water project we did. We worked with a water and sanitation committee, and might want to offer them training and governance of how to govern a project and maintain it, collect fees, and work on the project into the future. Lastly, on maintain strong community support, this project needs to be seen as a community project, not necessarily a Rotary project, so the community owns the project and will maintain it in the future and not look back to Rotary if one thing breaks or there's an issue.
Is that it, John?
Lastly,
go ahead.
Ongoing monitoring and evaluation, which was already spoken to a bit. Jim, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to turn it back over to Alan to give us a little summary of what we've learned so far.
Yes, if this is your first global grant application and you have not done a global grant before, you might consider working with another club's global grant committee to learn the process. One key thing throughout the process, even at the very start, get help from anybody that you can think of. District Grants Committee representative can help you. The Rotary Foundation regional coordinators are very helpful. If you want to write a section of an application and you're worried about it, send it to the regional coordinator and get feedback before you turn in the whole application. Communicate frequently with your partners during this project. If there are questions from the regional coordinator, ask your partners, ask the host club and other organizations to help you answer the questions from the regional coordinator. As John mentioned, maintaining good financial records is a key part of this. Many clubs have lost years of being able to submit grants because they're tied up in trying to refine the financial records and get them acceptable for closing a report. This is a critical thing that you need to watch almost on a daily basis. Maintain good financial records. Jim, you want to summarize where this whole program has gone?
Okay, thank you very much, Alan and John. It's been great to hear your inputs on this. The next steps on the global grant training, after watching this video, we have put on the website 3 other videos that really go into details about how to fill out a global grant application online, and that goes into the detail of every step in the process. What we have talked about here are sort of the essential things that you have to do to be prepared, and so watching the next 3 videos will help you go through the application itself. And if you have further questions, feel free to contact your District 5440 Grants Committee representative, as Alan mentioned, and also other people for help as well. And if you don't know who your 5440 Grants Committee representative is, you can find that on the district website under the Grant Scholarships menu by clicking on Grant Committee Member Contact Info. You do have to be signed in as a Rotary member before you can get that information, because it's not available to the general public. So finally, there's really a wealth of information about global grants, especially on the Rotary International website, if you click on the link there that's listed. And one thing that you definitely should do is read the terms and conditions so that you don't violate some of the terms and conditions of the grant, which will cause your grant to be rejected by the Rotary Foundation. The terms and conditions have been posted on the website, the district website, also under the grants and scholarship area. So thank you very much for participating in this seminar. I hope you have a very successful global grant.